request this week. The song by request is Cinderella's Somebody Save Me, and it's for Austin, so this is for you, Austin. So we're going to break down this song, and after we get through the intro, which is also the verse, we're going to get through the little intro riff too. So let's get to it and follow along with the tab on the screen. The red part is the part that I'm working on, as always. So let's get to it. So before I begin, let me point out two things. The first is I turned off the distortion. It's a lot easier to hear, and we get this question a lot. Should I put distortion on when I practice? And we recommend that you don't, so I'm not going to have it on. And the second question is, are there different ways to play different songs? And the answer is yes. And I'm going to get into that as we get into this song, because as you'll see on the tab, there's probably different ways you might think are easier to play certain chords. So let's get to it. The first chord in this song is an A chord, and I'll get into that right now, and that's, you can play that A chord with a bridged, with your 2 and 2 on the 3rd and 4th strings, or you can play it with your 2 fingers, or these 2 fingers, or these 2 fingers. It really doesn't matter, it's whatever comfortable for you. So I'm going to make suggestions, but if you find it's easier to play another way, play it the way that's easiest, as long as it sounds good. So take your time, use a metronome, and make sure that you get it right the second time. Like Patrick says, just play it slow, and once you play it slow, you'll get better and better as you get up to speed. This song is at 132 beats per minute, but we're going to keep it slow while we learn it. So the first chord is that A chord. You're going to take your picking hand and you're going to play in a specific pattern, and it's so I can use any positioning I want for this song. So we're gonna use our 1st and 2nd fingers. That's what I'm gonna recommend, and you're gonna always play that A open, as you see on the tab. As I move up, I'm always going to leave the A string open. So the first chord is an A, and that's the pattern. Leaving the A open, I slide my fingers into position for the next chord, which is my ring finger on the 5th fret on the 3rd string, and my forefinger on the 3rd fret on the 4th string, and I leave the 5th string A open. The same pattern. And for the 3rd chord, I slide my fingers up. I like to use my ring finger and my middle finger on the 7th fret on the 3rd and 4th strings. And those are the first 3 chords. The next part's a little tricky, so I'll go back and do those first 3 chords one more time. And the next part, I'll play it for you first, then we'll break it down. So that's the final part, which it then repeats. So the best way to do that is you're going from the 7th fret on the 3rd and the 4th strings. The best recommendation I can make is whichever position is easiest for you, try and keep your fingers in that position at the first time you're playing this part, because it'll be easier for you to get down the positioning and remember where to go than to switch fingers at this point. Because I like to play it like this, and you may not want to switch your fingers like that. So I'm going to just use my first 2 fingers to exemplify how to play this. So from the 7th fret on the 3rd and the 4th strings, you slide down to the 5th fret on the 3rd and the 4th strings, hit the open after you slide from the 5th to the 4th, then you slide up to the 7th, hit that 5th open again, then slide from the 5th to the 4th to the 2nd, easier if you keep these two fingers the same through the whole progression the first time you're getting it down. So if you mess up like that, you can just keep your fingers and remember the position, and then later you can get into playing it and moving your fingers around like this. Or whatever's easier for you, that's the point. So that's the main portion of the song. It's going to repeat over and over. And then the next part we'll get into is the little riff that I'm sure a lot of you want to know how to play. So let's turn the distortion back on just so I can play it for you, and then we'll get into how to do it. So now I'll show you how to play the lead riff that comes in right after the intro plays a couple times. As you can see, I got the distortion back on, and that's so you can hear how it sounds in the song. But as always, when I break it down, I'll take the distortion off. So here's how it sounds. So you can see how the solo goes right back into the song. Now I'll turn off distortion and we can break down the solo for you. As you can see on the tab, this is a lot of bends, and these bends come in succession, one after the other, and you're going to be doing a full bend with each one. As you can see, I always say when you do a bend, to really get a feel for where you're bending, you can always slide up and test your bend. So that's what we're doing. These bends are not single bends, they're sort of double stops, and that note is what you're bending to. So really you don't need to slide up, you can just... That's what you're bending to each time. It makes it kind of easy. It's sort of simple because you're just matching the note. So we're going to start on the 5th and the 7th frets of the 2nd and 3rd strings. Now I like to use my pointer and ring finger. You can again use whatever you want, whatever's easier. If it's easier for you to start with your pinky and use all your fingers to bend if you're a beginner, that's fine. It'll help your calluses on your pinky anyway. So, as I said, we're on the 5th and the 7th with our pointer and our ring. And we're going to bend that step up. Then we're going to slide up to the 8th and the 10th. And that's a quick one, so we gotta... These bends are 1, 2, 3, 4. They're almost a full count. That's why this one's a quick one. That last bend is the last beat of every measure. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that every time. So as you follow along on the tab, you'll see we're going to bend the 5th and the 7th. Well, just the 7th. Slide up to the 8th and the 10th. Bend it real quick. Slide back down to the 6th and the 8th. So... you can see that one's another 3 count. So then you're going to do another quick one up at the 10th and the 12th, all on the 2nd and 3rd strings. That's the quick one. Now we hold out on the 8th and the 10th. Then we slide up to the 12th and the 14th. And now we hold out on the 8th and the 12th. Now we're going to repeat it, but on the second time he does a little walk down, and so we're not going to come all the way back up to the 12th. So I'll do the first one because we'll put the tab on the screen. So that's the first one. The second one repeats. But now when you would slide up to the 12th and the 14th, rather than do that, so I'll do it one more time. This is the second repetition. Rather than slide up, you're going to slide down to the 7th. You can keep that ring finger in the same place, slide down to the 7th on the 3rd string, and you're going to do a bend. And as you pull off that bend, you're going to have to do a little, it's kind of trickery with your bend and all 3 fingers. And it's just the pentatonic scale walking down, but we're going to have to stay in with it. So he's going to slide, he's going to bend up, but I'm sliding to show you that it's a full bend. So it looks tricky because you got to pull off that bend and then hit the 6th fret on the 3rd string and the 5th fret on the 3rd string in quick succession, and then jump down to the 7th fret on the 4th string, the 5th fret on the 4th string, just like that. And then you jump down to the 7th fret on the 5th string, the 5th fret on the 5th string. Actually, this is where it gets tricky. We're going to play the pentatonic scale, blues scale, and we're going to throw in the 6th fret on the 5th string, walk that down to the 3rd fret on the 5th string, and then back to the A. So that's how the solo goes back into the riff. So I'll turn the distortion back on, play it for you one more time, and make sure you learn your blues scales, your pentatonic scales. It'll really help you with things like this when you're learning new songs, because all of these little bends and hammer-ons and pull-offs and walk-downs, they're all part of the pentatonic scale. So I want to make sure you get it right. When you're walking down, don't leave out any notes, because if you do, you're not going to follow in line to be able to play. You got to be able to have enough notes to get back down there. So make sure that you play it in succession. And here it is one more time with full distortion. Alright guys, that's Cinderella's Somebody Save Me. I want to thank Austin for requesting the song. It's a fun song to play. It's got some cool bends and hammer-ons and pull-offs. So you guys can watch the video, watch the tab, and if you have any requests, send them in. The email address is social@rawtalentguitar.com. That's where you do all our social media, so get in touch with us. Let us know what songs you want to hear. And we always have the support form on our website if that's the easiest way. Get to our website, rawtalentguitar.com, and let us know what you want to learn. Thanks.